Just a castaway in my own republic, a country occupied by foreign banks that openly brag they've taken my republic over and that they're going to give us $100,000 fines for washing our cars. That's the San Diego Herald Tribune. That they're going to arrest us for hay dust in our barns, that they're going to forcibly inoculate our children without asking us, totally illegal, that they're going to shut down and take over the internet and have a secret executive order do it. Once you get to the point of tyranny, it just drops off a ledge. And the media, I've literally got probably 60 articles here, CBS News, NBC, you name it, showing Fort Sumter on fire that started the Civil War. Union ships bombarding the fort. I mean, this is so amazing, the type of things that are going on. And the media is saying it's racist. People don't like having a black president. Really? Was there secession calls 4 years ago? No. We know Obama's a puppet. They're saying we're going to raise your taxes. We're going to pass VAT and carbon taxes. That's now in the news. We're going to give it to foreign banks. We're going to have the federal government totally take over your life. We're going to legalize all the illegals. We're going to open the country up, North American Union. And people are like, no, you're not. And they're like, yes, you are. Hey, your state says they're going to enforce the law and not let TSA stick their hands down people's pants? Well, I tell you what we're going to do then. We're going to send in F-16s to shoot down aircraft that try to enter Texas. I mean, that was last year. The federal government's out of control. It's been taken over. They brag in hundreds of publications that America's been conquered, the post-America world, on and on and on. 50 years ago, the richest nation in the world, the highest education, highest IQ, longest lived. Now we're at the back of the pack. We have been overrun by criminals with a bunch of fancy propaganda. And Ron Paul gave a speech yesterday, his farewell, where he said, we have state-run media. They've set up FEMA camps. We're going into world government. That's what's going to cure this, is slamming the facts down because they're right there. Not listening to some of the people at Campaign for Liberty that have tried to infiltrate it, saying, don't talk about world government. Don't, work with the system. Oh, Obama's got a mandate. Thank God Ron Paul's taking Campaign for Liberty back over. And listen, I'm going to lay out my battle plan. We come back from break. I'm so excited. I've just given you some of the basic facts here. But I'm going to tell you this. Call everyone you know, whether you're listening on a local AM or FM station, whether you are listening on XM 168, whether you are tuning, 166, excuse me, whether you are listening on the internet streams at prisonplanet.com or Infowars.com, call everyone you know and tell them to tune in now, because I've got a battle plan based on history, based on our republic, based on our Bill of Rights and Constitution, and based on the fact that we have close to double the nations that we had 100 years ago, because people want freedom. And when you've got a corrupt central government, Mexico used to be twice the size it is now. Not in the north, in the south. Guatemala and other countries peeled off. That is the natural thing, is to, when you get your federal government hijacked, you pull out, then you reconstitute, and then you go restore the federal government. I mean, look, if foreign enemies parachuted in and took over the White House and the Congress and announced, we're your new government, like something out of America with a K with Chris Christopherson, you would say, hey, the states have got to get together to go kick these guys out. That's not our legitimate government. That wouldn't be secession. That would be the states organizing to reconstitute the republic. But to do that, they've got to exercise their states' rights of secession. Not secession to make Texas its own country, not secession to make Oklahoma its own country, not secession to make Missouri its own country, or Illinois. Secession to say, here's our Bill of Rights and Constitution that our state constitutions are based on. This is what we follow, not the UN, not the New World Order, not the Patriot Act, not the NDAA, Federal Reserve out, New World Order out, get out. Look at how they set the euro up to get the countries in debt fraudulently, sign them onto banker debt, implode them, and bring them into a total super union under central bank, private bank control. They brag about that on Bloomberg TV. That's all over the news. They say the banks set up the euro to take it over. They think you're so dumb. This is all admitted. So I give praise to Ron Paul. You know, when you love somebody and you love what they've done and you get upset by some of the things you see some of his supporters in the power structure do, when you count on somebody, then it's personal. You get mad at them. And I've gotten mad a little bit at Ron Paul to get him back to realize what had happened to his organization. I did it quietly, did it gently, but now it's happening. And I'm telling you, we need to draft Ron Paul to lead the Second Continental Congress of the States. It's a new Declaration of Independence to restore the Republic. Make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, history is being made now. As Ron Paul said in his speech yesterday that we're going to play excerpts of after Edwin Vieira leaves us at the bottom of the next hour, constitutional lawyer, to break down our path towards victory against the globalist, secession, and reconstituting the Republic. I'm going to lay that plan out as calmly as I can here in a moment. If you go to prisonplanet.com or Infowars.com, Ron Paul, Secession is an American Principle. That video's up there. In his final speech, Ron Paul warns of continuous march towards fascism. That's a Steve Watson article. That's a quote. He said this is a conscious, sounded like I wrote the speech. I know we're on the same page, but man, Ron Paul really gets it. This is a conscious, tyrannical, planned seizure, takeover by world government conquering the U.S. And God bless him, he's told the truth and laid it out. We're not going to beat these people like the media says. Oh, go join the Democrats, call for socialism. That's all election fraud. It's all a scam. 12 to 15, 20 million, the numbers are varied. Of Ron Paul, libertarians didn't vote for Romney. That's why he didn't get in, because people aren't playing games anymore. They're not buying 3 to 5 million guns a month and buying ammo and signing 1,200,000 petitions to secede because they're playing games anymore. And I saw one of the top neocon talk show hosts, I have his quotes here, coming out and saying, do not sign that petition. The government will come round you up. That's like telling John Hancock and Thomas Jefferson, don't sign the Declaration of Independence. Here, you see the Declaration of Independence? Give me a document cam shot, guys. I'm going to sign this. This is what it's all about. I was up in Hot Springs last year on a 3-day vacation with my family, and they had Constitutional Women's Group there at one of the museums handing out free constitutions on Constitution Day, and they gave you a chance to sign it. And that's the point. Alex Jones, see that? That's where you get freedom. Telling these bullies, these scum, these illegitimate New World Order trash, we're not playing games with you. Let me read from this that these vampires don't like. It's like high noon to them. While evils are sufferable, it goes on here, people to alter or abolish it and to institute new government. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light or transient causes. And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed or conditioned. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such governments and to provide new guards for their future security. And look, I signed my name to it right here. I signed my name to this. Sign your name. It is a symbol. God sees it. Print it out, or if you got a parchment one hanging on the wall, get in there and sign it. In fact, we've got back there parchment constitutions hanging. I want them pulled off the wall I want the Declaration of Independence. I want it pulled out of the frame. I'm going to sign it because that's what it's about. I mean, look at this headline. Glenn Beck says, are you out of your mind? They'll come round you up. My God, that man is a Benedict Arnold with stuff like that. Or maybe he's just a coward. He's got like 30 security people. I just go out to Bilderberg streets, have 1,000 people around me, and people are like, that's crazy, Jones. Why do you do that? Why do you tell folks where you're going, where you're going to be? Because it's in God's hands. That's why. The tree of liberty has to be refreshed with the blood of patriots and tyrants, and I'm not living in fear. I'm signing my name onto liberty, and I'm in 110%. I'm all in. I'm doubling down. There's no more backing off. There's no more playing games. There's no more half measures. You're either for freedom or you're going to be a slave. Now, let me give you my plan, and I want to start out first with how they're going to counterstrike. You've seen it. I told you for years. John Warner Defense Authorization Act says for insurrection by the states, governors, and legislatures. This is 2007 they were getting ready for this. This is a long-term plan when they were getting rid of Posse Comitatus, getting Brigade Homeland set up, 400,000 troops for domestic operations, Northcom standing up. The drones, all of the massive preparations that were going on and being established and being set up while all of this was going on, they said in the 2007 John Warner Defense Authorization Act, it says, and I read it on air to you, that they are preparing to block the states. They're worried about the governor's council, even though most of them are their operatives, because we could take that back over, and that's the logical place to have a new continental Congress of the states to restore the republic. Not a secession, recognizing our government's been hijacked. That's the key. That's not words. That's true. They have declared they have conquered us. That's a legal posting in over 200 newspapers I've seen in just the last year. I've shown them. Paul Watson and I wrote the article, Bankers Declare They've Conquered Europe and the U.S. Our first issue of the magazine covered that. Bankers declare they've conquered us. That is a legal posting. These people are lawyers because they leave back doors, escape hatches for themselves. That's why we understand their battle plan, because this barrel of snakes follows a program to exempt themselves from their tyranny. Okay? Now listen to me. They've got the military set. They've got the military ready. Rick Perry joked and said, we'll secede. They put the military on alert, surrounding states to invade. Good. Throw me in that briar patch. Let's get it on. Let's start it. Let's have you come in and knock some heads and put army on the streets. Let's get it going here. Not physical. Don't fight them when they do this. Let the redcoats occupy like they did for a decade before it really got going. Let the redcoats come in. Let them rape women. Speak out against it. If you see it happening, you've got a moral duty to defend the woman. But no offensive attacks. No offensive attacks. Let their evil flow. Continue. They want to start the fight. Let them shoot first. We have the moral high ground. They'll probably stage some false flags to then blame it on us so they can get the moral high ground. Continue to expose their main weapon that we've almost destroyed, false flag. False flag, inside job, staged event, provocateur event. It's now in the nomenclature. It's now in the popular culture. Keep running that offense on them. Attack in all directions, ladies and gentlemen. We've been waiting to be fully surrounded. We've been waiting for everything we warned to come to pass. We fought against it while building next phase resistance systems, okay? That's why we said from deep behind enemy lines. I know I'm in FEMA Region 6. I know the globalists admit they conquered us decades ago with the National Security Act. Now they want to conquer you physically. Now they really want to break your will and break your back and get you ready for this. And break you financially so you go on food stamps and go on welfare and ship all our jobs overseas and use banker bailout money to ship our jobs overseas. Everything was about bringing us down, making us dependent, demoralizing us, breaking up our families, making the general public these gibbering, empty demons that get off on the idea of evil but squeal like little pigs when they get caught in the vice grips of something real, who have no idea what real darkness is, who have no idea what hell is really like, have no idea what the stench of tyranny really smells like. Well, you little fools are going to get to smell it. The weak are fascinated and worship at the altar of evil because they believe it has power. But once evil really gets turned loose, they will beat their heads and pull their hair out, and they will beg. They will beg for justice, and there will be none. The wicked flee when none pursue. The pit they've dug for us, they will fall into. Now, let me lay it out. They're going to invoke race war. You've seen it. Just, you don't like government-run health care, you're a racist. You don't like world government, you're a racist. You don't like election fraud, you're a racist. You're a racist, you're a racist. It's that division with the illegals and the inner city folks and the poor people who are victims of the mind control, just like the general public. That will be the globalist weapon system and their constituency. Their paramilitary police and the military are starting to wake up. But still, a lot of them are such authoritarians and drunk on power and drunk on the idea that they're moral and drunk on the brainwashing they've been given, that a lot of them will try to prosecute a war of intimidation against us. And we've got to hold, ladies and gentlemen. It's like Andrew Jackson said, don't fire till you see the whites of their eyes. Politically, just let them keep engaging us and abusing and stomping all over us. And just document, while moving politically to delegitimize them, to expose them. When they brag and post public notices that they've conquered us, we've been conquered. We've been taken over. They're trying to mop up the media. They put the internet kill switch in years ago. Now they've announced it under secret order. They're getting ready the new wars to try to get us to rally around. The economic implosions, all of it. This is going to be one Hades of a fight. But if we don't give up and keep pounding in the info war, we're going to win. Now, did you call everybody you know and tell them to tune in? Because I'm going to lay this out. The globalists will stage false flags to kill the states' rights Declaration of Independence 2.0 movement. That's what it is, Declaration of Independence 2.0, restoring the republic. They're going to stage false flags. They're going to roll up gun owners and call them paramilitary forces. They've already got petitions to form federal militias to invade as commissars. That's at whitehouse.gov. I'm going to cover it in a moment. They're already saying deport us. They're already saying arrest us. And they've already sold the idea in like 8 movies that have come out and all these magazines that Obama's the Abraham Lincoln, that there's going to be a civil war, and that he will stop the racist. And the media is saying, it's Secession 2.0, civil war, we're going to fight the gray coats. We're going to fight that's already the branding. No, we're not fighting gray coats and blue coats. This is northerner, southerner, westerner, black, white, Hispanic, Asian. If you want freedom, if you want out from under socialism and globalism, then you are 1776. Own it. Become it. I mean, you know, those of you that have been globalist minions, those of you that have been socialist, you know it's delivering you into bondage. You know it doesn't fulfill you. You know there's a tingle in your heart and in your mind, in your soul when you hear me speak. You want to join your brothers and sisters in liberty, in history, that have stood up against tyrants. We're fighting the same thing our ancestors fought over and over again in different permutations. And the globalists demonize the Bill of Rights and Constitution because even though it was never fully implemented, the ideas that it enshrines are anathema to the despot, to the tyrant, to the king rat, and you are at the threshold. You are the resistance. You are the leaders. They're going to invoke race war. They're going to invoke separation of men and women. They're going to invoke more attacks on the family. They're going to hammer the economy and say, give the bankers unlimited trillions in new taxes and austerity, or we're going to implode you. They're going to then put more people on welfare so that they've got to survive. They're forcing us onto the plantation, onto the slave reservation, onto the control grid. They are going to, again, say it is secession and that it's violent, and go find, you know, goofballs and guys out there on their little farm saying, I'm the president of this, I'm the president of that, I'm the president of Oklahoma, I'm the president of Texas, I'm the president of New Mexico, to make it look kooky. I'm laying out their battle plan. I've told you this was all coming. They trained the military. They trained Northcom for this. They understand this is the remedy in the Constitution. Not some secession where some guy declares themselves the king of Texas, but Texans saying the federal government has been hijacked by foreign globalists that have bragged that they've conquered us. You go into the legislatures with papers with the examples of the news and the bankers announcing that there's a world government and we've been conquered. Their announcement, we've been conquered. You go in with the Declaration of Independence saying it's our right and duty to throw this off. You call for the state legislature associations, the gubernatorial associations, not the new 10-member FEMA Governor's Council that's the counterfeit over the governors getting together, or the rural affairs under Department of Defense, Homeland Security to run the rural areas. This is an emergency reorganization plan by design, modeled after the Mao and Lenin and Stalin takeovers of those countries and surrounding areas. We know their attack profile. We know their bombing runs. We know their plan. All we've got to do is face how much trouble we're in. We can beat these people. But folks, if you don't grow up and realize, oh my gosh, Alex Jones was right. Oh my gosh, Ron Paul was right. Oh my gosh, this is real. Oh my gosh, we got to do something. We got to go do banner hangs right now. We got to call into talk radio. We got to go to the legislatures, even if they're not in session, and go in and say, we know what's going on. Stand up, do something. Stop being a coward. The globalists are purging our military right now because I know from high-level multiple sources, and you've seen all the resignations, that the military said no to this Northcom takeover plan. Military said, we're not going to arrest governors and people. We're not going to arrest newspaper editors. We're not going to arrest talk show hosts. We're not going to do gun confiscation. Do you understand that's a suicide mission and cannot be practiced? It's not practicable. It is not practical. It will wipe out our forces. Are you insane? And see, it's not that the top generals are even moral on average. They understand, wait, we're overextended everywhere. Most of the troops are out of the country. There's all these mercenaries here. You want us to try to take 180 million gun owners' guns? If 1% stand up, that's 1.8 mil. There's no way. Admiral Yamamoto said if we ever invaded the mainland of the U.S., there'd be a rifle behind every blade of grass. That's the execution of the military and the police by the globalists to bring us into total anarchy. If the military and the police try to execute the gun confiscations that Obama and the NRA has documented, has planned, physical turn-ins of all semi-autos, there will be a civil war when that starts. People that resist will be called terrorists. They've got, I mean, folks, they had drones and helicopters over Austin, black helicopters this morning. It's even in the news. The Department of Defense, I mean, they are ready, okay? I mean, they want to hammer down. Again, so we need to be nonviolent. We need to be prepared. We need to let people know, though, this is going to happen. See, people are listening to all of us now because everything we've talked about's happened. So when we come back, I'm going to give you the keys. I've told you what they're going to do. I'm going to tell you what we need to do. We need to draft Ron Paul to try to organize through their state movement, Campaign for Liberty, that was full of operatives. Of course, you know something like that's going to get infiltrated by young punks that want to be stars in the Republican Party. Ron Paul's retaking control of it. They need to direct for a calm meeting of governors and legislatures, circulating petitions, circulating legislation that Ron Paul writes, and other competing legislation to restore the republic, not secession, but to recognize at the state level the globalists have seized our country. They're overthrowing the Bill of Rights and Constitution. We are not seceding to destroy the republic, but to unite the republic. They want to build this as a civil war. That's been their plan. They will stage false flags. We enter the prime danger zone. We are here to restore the republic through secession. We must unjoin and then reunite. Stay with us. We'll be back.